Welcome to Obscured Reality with Mark and Stephanie. From UFO sightings to the lost city of Atlantis, from alien encounters to the living dead, each episode will leave you questioning reality. If you're ready to explore the eerie, tune in to Obscured Reality, where mysteries come alive.
Welcome back, Obscured Reality. Stephanie and Mark back with you. Tonight, we're gonna kill two birds with one stone.
Okay.
Why? Because the first one's not even worth a full show. Kind of an update, but not really an update. Let me pull up a shot for you right now. We have another Doomsday Fish sighting down in Southern California. Ooh, twice in a couple months now.
Yeah.
People are going to freak out on that.
The rapture is coming.
If you don't know why the Doomsday Fish is important, or I should say some people believe is important, it's an oarfish. It's called a Doomsday Fish because people like to say they tend to show up dead around times when bad things happen. Where he did a show on it 2, 3, 4 episodes ago. Go check it out. There's probably nothing to it. Otherwise, we'd see him all the time because there's always bad shit happening, right?
Oh, God.
So we'll just go through this one real quick. We're barely going to hit this, but just so you guys know, another one came up. So, Encinitas, California, this is Fox News. Another Doomsday Fish has made an unexpected appearance along the beaches of California. So, this makes just the 21st sighting since the 1900s. 21st. And 2 of those are in the last 2 months.
In California.
Yeah. They recently discovered the specimen along the rocky coast north of San Diego near Encinitas. So this one measured only about 9 to 10 feet long.
There's a baby.
Much smaller than the one recovered in La Jolla, California over the summer. Now, La Jolla is right there. It's kind of part of San Diego County. Encinitas, I believe, is too. So they're not that far off. Okay, that's important. They recovered the specimen, blah, 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 blah. And there's not much else to it other than talking about, well, we're going to keep it and look at the biology. But there's the one that just washed up. My God, it's still just as ugly as all the other ones.
Yeah, I'm really glad that it's a far away shot and not like a close up of its face again.
Yeah.
Take that back. Take it back.
Yeah, they're ugly. They're ugly.
Scroll by.
I wouldn't want to see one of those ever.
Not in real life.
Laying on the beach, sure, but not while I'm in the water. Alive or dead, don't care. These things are just ugly. But 9 to 10 feet long. So as we found out before, they get much larger. So the location's important. And location's important just because the other one washed up in La Jolla. These 2 places aren't that far off.
They're not.
So, yeah, people think there's something mysterious about them. They're washing up because something bad is going to happen, or things like that. And there's no evidence to even show that could be the case. But these 2 places being so close together, and these 2 washing up very shortly, one after the other, just goes to show you there's some type of event underwater, probably the current. And it's washing them out, or they got sick, or they died, and then the current washed them out because they're obviously not swimming. So that's all it is. Kind of lame. But, it happened. So let's get into the real one tonight. Guys, gonna educate you. I'm sure you've never heard of this person. But there's a guy back from the 1400s by the name of Christopher Columbus. Gotcha. Yeah. So, why would we be talking about this guy? I'll tell you why. Christopher Columbus saw some weird shit
Yeah, he
in the
did.
Bermuda Triangle.
I'm sure he's seen a lot of weird shit
He saw
in
some
his
weird
travels.
stuff in the Bermuda Triangle. So
Okay. Okay.
we'll go through this one, and then I threw in a couple extra stories from way back then. And this just will go to show you weird shit was happening back then.
Oh.
Doesn't begin at Roswell, doesn't begin with the first reported sighting. Obviously we have much earlier ones here. So
Oh
the
yeah.
first part here is be about his little journey. So this was during his first journey across the Atlantic in 1492.
Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Sorry.
Christopher Columbus reported many strange sightings within the Bermuda Triangle. Well, let's see what they got to say. The first of these was that the stars appeared to move in the sky.
Okay.
Interesting. First thing that comes to mind is how many barrels of rum do you have on your ship? Let's count that out. So
Yeah.
some, none, don't know. However, I mean, there's been plenty of times I've been outside if I'm standing up, kind of moving around, or even just standing still, but kind of moving a little bit. You can easily have a view of the stars where it looks like one, did that move? And you stop and you brace yourself and you're like, yeah, definitely not. Didn't move, right?
Yeah.
He's on a ship in the middle of the fucking ocean. I mean, good luck with the bobbing and weaving. Does that start moving? Who knows?
But they also
But
really completely relied on pretty much star charts back then for
yeah,
navigation.
yeah.
So
Well, another was that Columbus saw a light like that of a candle, that's his words, moving up and down in the distance. When he asked his crew to look at the light, it vanished and reappeared many times. The most unusual thing that Columbus says that he saw was a glowing object coming out of the water and shooting towards the sky. Many people think that this must have been a light on the shore or from another ship. So let's back up real quick. The like that of a candle, light that he saw moving up and down in the distance. He'd ask the crew to look at it, and it would vanish and reappear. Happened a bunch of times right there. I mean, I'd have no idea what the light is, but
right.
the going up and down, he's out on the ocean.
Yeah, you're already going up
What,
and down. Other shit
right?
would be going up and down.
Yeah, and what were the swells like? But
Right.
that doesn't describe the light, unless the light was on another boat, another ship.
Hmm.
Obviously, it wouldn't be a buoy, probably not a lighthouse, right? And the light's moving up and down. So now you got to prove to me that the light was moving up and down and you weren't moving up and down.
That part. Yeah.
Could be important. But this one with this glowing object came out of the water and shooting towards the sky. So people think this must have been a light on the shore or from another ship. Well, another ship, I mean, shooting up into the sky is pretty specific.
Yeah.
Not saying it couldn't be.
I mean, the only thing that I can think that would cause a light to shoot up into the sky would be cannon fire from another ship, but
You'd hear that.
Yeah, and I feel like there would be just more than like one, because they're not gonna just let's set off a fucking cannon. I mean, unless they did that shit for fun, but I highly doubt that they would waste supplies.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
who knows?
I wasn't a seafaring merchant of the 1500s, so
the only thing I can think of is like a meteor coming into the atmosphere.
that too.
However, how many times do we see or hear about a meteor coming in on, I'm looking out in this direction, say facing north. So imagine this 3 more times, west, south, east, right? How many times do we have where something shows up on that side of the planet, comes through the atmosphere all the way to the other side, where you got people in America or England or whatever seeing it, you know? So basically, what it would look like from your vantage point would be a meteor coming in. You would see it coming up from the horizon
Yeah.
into the sky. That is the way it would appear.
Mhm.
So I don't know the statistics on if there's been some that have come into our atmosphere, but were just on the wrong trajectory, that they stayed right there. So as they kept going, they exited the atmosphere, or any coming in that just all the way, halfway
Yeah.
around the planet, quarter of the way would be far. I don't know, but he saw some stuff. Apparently, that was out there in that area. Um, it's hard to say. To me, the lights are going to be the most difficult thing to assign something to, especially
Right.
back then. And without the electricity, this, and being able to turn these lights on and doing all that shit. Anything they'd be using to produce light at night wouldn't really be too bright, I don't think.
No, I don't think
So
so
then it's
either.
how far was he away from light? How far could you actually see one? So from another article, this is just a brief snippet. This one said he called over two of his crew members, but the light was so faint that only one man could discern it. Staring harder, Columbus wrote, he again perceived it once or twice, appearing like the light of a wax candle moving up and down, which some thought an indication of land. So a light, over there on land easily could look like it's moving up and down if you're on a ship,
Mm-hmm.
because you're moving, the swells are moving,
Mm-hmm.
the water. So I just wanted to show how you can find other articles and you get the same thing, but you also hear a little more, or it's changed a little bit. In this case, it turns out one of the crew could faintly see it, but
Mm-hmm.
barely. So that's it for CC, Christopher Columbus. However, let's look at some other stories. These are, I believe, all ships.
Okay.
Long time ago. So the Ellen Austin, it was supposed to be just another routine journey between London and New York over the Bermuda Triangle Zone in the Atlantic Ocean. When the crew of the Ellen Austin, which was a 210-foot long American large multi-masted ship weighing over 1,800 tons, became embroiled in a chilling experience fit for a horror movie. Okay. In 1881, the that's not too long. The Ellen Austin was on the last leg of its journey back to New York. Upon entering the waters of Bermuda Triangle, it was surrounded by, this one's interesting. It was surrounded by a sudden thick mist which blocked out all visibility. Left with no choice, the crew proceeded slowly and relied heavily on the lookout from the crow's nest. A few hours later, they spotted another ship. Relieved at the prospect of company in such weird circumstances, the Ellen Austin sailed close to the other ship. The crew waited in anticipation for the fog to clear so they could make contact. However, when the fog eventually cleared, the other ship was found to be abandoned. Despite searching high and low, the captain's log and the trail boards could not be found aboard the abandoned ship, rendering identification impossible. Now, abandoned ship, so they didn't find any bodies. How do we
Right.
know this thing wasn't tied down somewhere, broke away in the storm, and obviously they weren't able to recover it,
Where
right?
does the top of the Bermuda Triangle stop? Like end? Like that?
It's all down by Florida,
How? Okay. So
I
question:
believe.
how? If you're going from London to New York, how do you pass through the Bermuda Triangle? That's
Well,
that part confused me immediately. I'm sorry.
I am not a sailor, nor
Yeah, no, it is
n-
nowhere
nor
near.
a seaman.
I mean, you were at one point.
So let's
No,
see.
that's
Let's see if we can pull up
strange.
where this is at
Yeah, that's
exactly. Uh, yeah, it doesn't even come up from Florida.
Yeah, so like I'm very confused as to how.
Yeah, let me pull a shot up right now.
Yeah.
This doesn't show the actual triangle lines, but I was looking at that earlier today, and it ends down here somewhere.
Yeah, I mean I wish I could point, but yeah, where the word Bermuda is literally where the top point of it is, and then it goes to the bottom
Hmm.
point of Florida and then over to Puerto Rico. Like those are the
Yeah,
points of it. So
yeah.
I would really
And where
love
were
to
they coming
know.
from? London?
London to New York.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's possible.
Jesus. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if it has anything to do with Bermuda Triangle, but I feel like it definitely could have something to do with like I mean, ghost ships are definitely a thing. A lot of sailors
Yeah.
truly believe in that shit. Or did.
You could possibly wind up that far south, obviously if you lose course, but if you see a nasty storm, you want to try and go around it. I don't know, because you would think it'd tell you something about being blown off or drifting off course if that was the
Yeah.
case. Um, here we go. Here's a map of the triangle.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were, yeah, see this Bermuda, UK.
Yeah.
So they probably came right through up here,
I don't
is
see
most likely.
how.
I
They're
mean,
coming from London.
I couldn't imagine they're all the way down here,
No,
but
because they're coming
but
from London. They'd be much
but this
higher.
does say Bermuda, UK.
Because yeah,
So
Bermuda's owned by the UK. That doesn't mean they're
you
gonna
could
go down there.
also have something going on with the currents as well, depending on how that current goes. It might be way easier for them to, once they get to the point where there's that current, sit in that, if that's going, they're typically traveling a little up and down and
The
up.
fucking
But
Titanic didn't go anywhere near that
you're
down
talking
there.
about two completely different
They
ships.
went from London to New York. That was their
Oh,
initial.
yeah.
Nope. I don't. I think that article is a reach. I'm sorry. I think
Huh?
it might have something to do with like magneticism, but not the Bermuda Triangle. Like I don't know that
Yeah,
part.
well,
Sorry, that threw me.
maybe, yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
He,
ghost ships are creepy.
now that I think about it, now that you mentioned that, this might not have actually been in the Bermuda Triangle. Um, I don't think it actually. Oh no, yeah, no, it says within the Bermuda Triangle. I was reading something else earlier that was not in the Bermuda Triangle but related,
That's so
but this
wild.
says it was. So who knows? I mean, you're going from there to there. That doesn't mean they didn't go south for sightseeing stuff or something. And who the fuck knows, man?
Mm.
So the Ellen Austin, Captain Baker of the ship, made the decision to sail the mysterious ship, the abandoned one they found, back to New York and dispatch 6 of his men to man the second ship. This is
Ew.
where it gets better.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Things were smooth sailing for the next couple of days until they were forced apart by a sudden storm. It is said that the other ship mysteriously vanished, but after several hours of searching, the Ellen Austin finally caught up with it. Eerily, the ship was found to be empty once again, with no trace of the 6 men who were stationed there earlier. The crew was spooked, but Captain Baker managed to convince a handful of his men, this time armed with firearms, to sail the other ship in close proximity.
Because you know that those ghosts are real scared of them firearms.
Well, tragically, another heavy fog descended upon them once again, and the unknown ship, along with the men aboard, disappeared for good. It remains an unsolved mystery to this day.
Ghost ships, man. Ghost ships.
The
Like,
guns pissed them off.
I swear. No, like, ghost ships are, like, legitimate thing. Like, you can even find, like, stories of ghost ships on Lake Michigan. But, like, the fact they even went on that, it was like, you know, when you're watching a horror movie and like they see an open door in an abandoned house and theyey're like, yeah, let's go for it. And you're like, no, motherfucker. Because you know that the
Or
killer
like
is
the
like
one door
right
they
there.
didn't check, they turn around, they put their back to the door.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
that. Like you don't get on ghost ships. Like You leave that shit alone. Like, even to this day, you leave
If
that
you
shit
believe in the
alone.
paranormal,
I
but
mean,
you
a
know,
lot of people
much different
back in the
times.
day did. I mean, they didn't fucking want
Yeah.
women on ships. They wanted cats on a ship, but not women, because women were bad luck.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
like, they were like, I truly believe that like they were really superstitious about ghost ships, and so that's why it blows my mind that they were like, oh well, let's take it back. Like, no, you just
Yeah.
leave it. I don't know.
They
Opinion.
did what they did. Who knows? I mean,
Well, that
take the
was.
ship back. It's probably worth some money. He just got a free ship. I mean,
I mean, that's one way.
that's worth it.
Mm,
That's worth it, man. Well,
was
let's
it
move on.
worth risking your 12 men he lost then?
We have the Mary Celeste. Yes, the names on these are all kind of
Pretty.
kind of weird, kind of old. Obviously old, but
I have heard of the
one
Mary Celeste.
one of the earliest disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, which is heavily associated with alien abduction, is the Mary Celeste. In 1872, Captain Benjamin Briggs, his family, and a small trusted crew set sail from New York to Genoa on a merchant ship called the Mary Celeste. A month later, the ship was found adrift off the coast of Portugal with not a soul on board. The riddle of the Mary Celeste has intrigued and mystified ever since. The eerily pristine condition of the Mary Celeste and its undisturbed cargo at the time of discovery added fuel to claims of aliens turning up to whisk the crew away. This theory was also used to explain the mysterious disappearance of the USS Cyclops, where it is said that aliens beamed the entire ship into their spaceships. However, a lack of convincing evidence and heavy reliance on hearsay continue to cast doubts on the alien theory.
I like
So,
that. I like that.
I
Just
mean,
the whole ass ship. Just zoom.
yeah,
This
the
is
Mary
ours now.
Celeste, I mean, you could, are there pirates back then? What's going on? How do we
Oh,
know someone else didn't
yeah.
meet up with them? You see them out there and, oh, let's just go rob them and let's just
Or they
take
were
everyone
betrayed.
off.
They could have been betrayed by somebody too on the ship.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
never know.
very easily.
Yep.
They were like, "Oh
So,
man, these motherfuckers got money."
yeah, I don't know why, the stuff gets to be so weird, but,
Mm-hmm.
there's really not a ton that is weird. Um, but,
It's unsolved.
undisturbed cargo at the time of discovery, um, you know, clearly no one was looking to rob the ship. So let's
I think it
move
might
on to
have.
the
Ooh,
to the
grudge killing. Sorry.
USS Cyclops. They just mentioned that.
Yep.
Um, so the USS Cyclops incident, which represents the largest non-combat loss of life in the history of the U.S. Navy. In 1918, the USS Cyclops was supposed to deliver 10,800 tons of manganese ore
Okay.
to be used for
Magma.
manufacturing of munitions from Brazil to Baltimore. The ship never arrived at its destination and no trace of it was ever found, despite exhaustive search efforts. Mysteriously, no distress signals were sent prior to the ship's disappearance, nor did anyone aboard the Cyclops respond to the radio calls made by hundreds of other American ships in the vicinity.
Hundreds. Oh fuck.
In addition, the waters were relatively calm, with no storms strong enough to cause the Cyclops to founder. To date, the lives of 309 on board remain unaccounted for. So 309 people on
That
that. And this is a U.S. Navy ship, okay?
right.
So you're
Okay.
probably not looking at pirates just
No.
due to the amount of crew on board this ship
Mm-hmm.
alone. And, I don't know that that was much of a thing back then, especially in that area. But, just being a U.S. Navy ship, obviously large enough with over 300 people
Plus
on
sailors,
board,
yeah.
probably no one's going to go try and screw with it, you know?
It
Um,
is very interesting that there was no distress signal, and no answered calls from multitudes of other people. That's interesting.
yeah, but I mean, what if the electronics go out?
Mm-mm. Fail. This is true.
Right? So you never know.
No, you're right about that.
So like I
Hmm.
said, it's that one is a little weird as well.
Because
Just
I'm
because,
like,
it's so many people, the whole thing's gone.
right? I
It's a
mean, like,
Navy ship.
I feel like maybe they hit like a like they're like they had a glitch in the system. The power went out. They drifted into a reef, got a hole in the hull, couldn't regain.
Yeah,
Sank.
but
I don't
you would
know.
have radioed,
Well, I
you would have
mean, if
radioed.
your electronics have failed, you have nothing. How could you do that?
Well, you didn't mention that in your version of
Yes,
the
I did.
story.
Yes, I
Oh, you
did. Your
did? I
electronics
didn't hear
fail,
it.
and you drift into a coral
Oh,
reef.
gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Rewind, please. Whoever is
it,
watching this,
it,
rewind that.
it doesn't, ultimately, it doesn't matter what happens. If the electrical goes out, then it doesn't matter if you don't make it to your destination or to a destination, then it doesn't even matter what happened.
Mhm.
Let electronics go out, you're screwed.
Exactly.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's exactly what happened when it took out the bridge in Maryland. The ship's
yeah.
power went out multiple times, and it like failed to kick back in to course correct, and it had drifted too
Yep.
far and took the bridge out.
This is why you learn navigation without electronics in case something like that happens. You never know if that.
And well, I mean, it took out everything. They couldn't even fucking power their engines to course correct.
Who?
The never mind.
Who
I
are
was
you
talking about
talking
the ones
about?
that went through the bridge in Maryland. Sorry.
Where, guys? You just
my
witnessed
no
a
people who
loss of time.
no people who were paying attention know that I was comparing it to the fucking ship that took out the bridge in Maryland that had drifted off
I
course.
didn't hear you say the bridge in
How do
Maryland.
you not fucking
You just said they lost
no,
power. That's all you said.
no. I swear to
Well,
God, comment down below both times that I have now repeated myself and back me up. I swear to God, people. I hope you go through this
yeah, I
recording.
agreed on the first one.
No, go through the second one.
Oh, trust me.
I hope
Do
you
that tonight.
fucking do.
Yeah, I will. We're at 29 minutes. Perfect. In 8 seconds. All right, let's move on. So last thing, this is kind of one person's theory on why these things could happen. Not stating that's why all of these happen. Just saying could be an explanation.
Mhm.
Underwater methane explosions. If any of you have even slightest clue what I'm talking about, you're going to know exactly how that's going to cause this shit to sink. Dr.
Yeah.
Ben Clennell of Leeds University, England, delivered his lecture about methane gas in Wales in 1998. Little did he know his findings would spark an explosion of interest to justify the mysterious
Pun
vanishings around the
intended.
Bermuda Triangle. In short, the theory works on the basis that large amounts of methane gas exist below the ocean floor, trapped in the sediment in the form of methane hydrate. Large volumes of methane gas can be released as a result of landslides under the ocean floor.
Mm-hmm.
Under such circumstances, the water density in that area and right up to the surface can become so low that a ship could drop like a rock. As
Hey.
methane gas is highly combustible, this one I don't like. As methane gas is highly combustible, an eruption can also cause a plane flying above it to catch fire, become completely destroyed. I don't understand that. Unless that plane is like 5 feet above the water.
Right. I don't think a
I don't
huge
know
like
what the hell they
atomic
mean.
bomb fucking mushroom fireball cloud is gonna come out of a methane
Yeah,
gas
unless they're saying it's
bubble.
something pretty damn large. I don't know, man. But
I
yeah,
am also
so
not a volcanologist, so I don't know these things.
that is definitely a possibility in some cases, I'm sure.
Mhm.
That would be a shitty situation, but it'd be faster than normal sinking. Um, it could easily answer some, but the thing is the all the ships that have gone in right around the Bermuda Triangle, as well as planes, um, if they're not proven as to why they happened, um, could something like this, methane gas, be the answer to all the rest of them.
I don't think it's
You know,
just
like it'd be few and
that.
far between. It'd be a needle in a haystack if
Yeah.
you're on a ship. You'd have
Oh
to be
yeah.
in the right place at the right time on the right fucking day,
Yeah.
and
On a
the
fisher.
years and the
Yeah.
moons and the planets have to all align.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it could
I don't
happen.
think it's just methane gas. That's a reasoning.
No.
I think that maybe there is like
Well,
magnetic
no, it
lines
would
that
do it.
cross there and it fucks with like old school technology that was
Yeah.
based off of like, you know, the compass system.
Mhm.
I don't know, because a lot of the disappearances have stopped since switching over to digital versus
Yeah.
analog. So
Yeah. You also get a lot of storms out there.
yeah.
You know, I went back there 3 times in the last year, and you know, on the west coast of Florida. However, down in Tampa,
Mm-hmm.
every single day, each time I went, I was there for 4 days
Mm-hmm.
up to a week. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
each time. Every night there was a storm. A lot of times, right? You know, not too long before the sun goes
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
and then a little bit leading into the night.
Mm-hmm.
Literally every night.
Oh yeah. I remember
You
that.
know, so we're talking like June, July, and August. So, um, 3 separate months. It's the same thing every night. Um, so who knows what's popping up out there over the ocean?
Yeah.
The Bermuda Triangle could simply just be a hotspot for atmospheric conditions. It's always just moving there. And even if there is no storm, who's to say that air isn't just so bad and turbulent up there?
Mm-hmm.
Now referring to planes, you know, who knows? Um, I'm sure that could answer for a couple cases, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, there's other possibilities. However, I think what you're going towards, the whole magnetic thing, I think there is much more of an anomaly just like that happening there, probably because you'd get people calling in, you'd get tons of radio calls, you'd probably have a better idea of what's going on with the ship if it's sinking,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, but then I wonder how would that magnetic interference make them sink? You know,
I know, but I
that's
think like if you look where like a lot of the stuff is, especially like over by Bermuda, there are coral reefs. I feel like it's
mhm.
there are probably reefs out there, you know, in little archipelagos, whatever the fuck they are called, like little Bimini islands.
Archipelago.
That's the fucking one.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, not everything was charted perfectly back then. They didn't have like again, didn't have digital, everything like I'm talking ships. You know,
Well, I'm talking anytime,
I
not
know.
way back then.
I know, I'm just
You
talking
know,
about like magnetically talking like fucking up
hmm
digital shit. Like or, you know, something like
or
that.
regular compass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Throwing you
but
off, sending you into a reef. But with like the
but
airplanes,
yeah, but that's not going to
again,
happen. That's the thing. That's not going to happen every time. That you could get in
yeah.
there some magnetic anomaly going on, and your compasses and stuff get fucked up.
Or
You
like on
can't
a
figure out
plane,
where you're
it
going,
fucks with
and
like your old
you wind
ass
up on a
shit.
reef.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened once, but come on, you know that's not going to answer every single one.
No,
That
I'm just saying
magnetic
like
interference isn't going to cause them to sink. Um,
no.
eh,
It's causes
you
them
know,
to like run into an issue that does end up causing them to sink. It's
yeah, but
like cancer doesn't kill you. It's the
it's
fact
not
that
going to
it makes
happen
you
every
super sick and
time.
you catch something else and that's actually what kills you. It's like that.
It's not going to happen every time.
No, I'm not saying it
And
happens every time. I just feel like that.
but hang on, it's not going to happen every time. But you will have ships make it back that haven't
Mhm.
sunk. And when asked what happened, you would hear the story of, oh, I was in this area, which happened to be the Bermuda fucking
Mhm.
Triangle. Our compasses got all fucked up, and we got obviously off course, and then we found our way back because the compasses started working again.
Yeah.
You would have those stories if that was happening, because what you had said could definitely account for some, but that's not going to happen at all.
I mean, there are
So,
accounts where people have said that their instruments have gone all fucking haywire and they
but
have
it,
somehow made it back.
There you go. So, there's some possibilities, but those possibilities can't not explain every single
Oh,
one.
no, I'm not saying.
And then the airplanes as well. The airplane's an easy one. Oh, your compass is that shit goes out. You just keep going the same way you were going. You already have, at whatever altitude you're at, a good idea of the wind, meaning, do I need to add rudder to keep on course so I don't veer off course, things like that? Do I have to keep course correcting? How often? You'd have a good idea already of that. Either way, if you're out over the Atlantic and you're heading east and you're already headed towards, say, the center of the US, okay, let me just keep going that direction. I'm going to hit land. So,
Unless you're flying
of
at night and, you lose sight of the horizon because it's night.
course.
And,
But again, that's only going to answer a few.
I know.
Right. So, there's tons of possibilities. I think some type of magnetical anomaly definitely probably has something to do with that area. Maybe not. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's geologic stuff happening underground, under the ocean, and there's a ton of methane gas, that methane hydrate coming up and mixing in, floating to the top, and just making it not buoyant. But I think we'd have evidence of that by now.
Yeah. I mean,
But
that is kind of cool, though.
yeah.
I kind of would like to see that, like, on a model, like, in a controlled situation, like the idea of the methane gas bubble popping and, like, pulling the ship down.
I think I've seen experiments of that in the past.
I'm jealous.
I mean, it's a thing. It's a
I'm
thing.
sure. I just would love to see that because it sounds genuinely interesting.
Yeah,
I
and
want to see how fast
the other thing to
like
remember
quicksand,
is
but water.
The other thing to remember is, you'd be talking about a large pool of this methane, because you're talking about a geological event underground, right?
Yeah.
So if it's like a landslide, you can imagine it's going to be spread out. And once that methane hydride comes up anyways, it's probably going to spread out, whether it attaches to itself or not. It's probably going to spread out either way. So, you could have a large area. How large, though? I don't think enough to account for all of that. I think we'd have evidence.
I completely agree. But out of curiosity, I'm just kind of curious what fissures of the tectonic plates, if any, are in that area, and how active that area is with, like, earthquakes. Just simple curiosity on my own part, but
yeah. I mean, there's tons of earthquakes every day, everywhere, but most of you never gonna know about. But so Ellen Austin, Mary Celeste, Christopher Columbus. What do you think? I think that one where they put their 6 sailors on board and they disappeared, and they put 6 more and they disappeared. I mean, what do you think?
That's creepy.
These
as
stories.
Fuck. I feel like there's a multitude of things that it could have been. Like, I don't know, like, what the fuck is on a ship that you're like, death by water is a better option than this? Like, that's a little freaky.
Less the sea monster things are true.
Yeah. Davy Jones. It's Davy Jones fucking shit floating around waiting for its next victims to crawl aboard. Yeah. To get them to do a 100-year contract. Part of the ship, part of the crowd.
Some of the way that stuff was worded kind of led you to believe like they weren't even sure if some of that was part of the true story or not.
Exactly. It's been a long time since that happened. Things have, been retold. I'm sure shit has been changed.
Yeah. And I was looking for the shipping logs for the Christopher Columbus one, because this is what he had written down. And I've, as of yet, unable to find it. But it'd be interesting to read the quote from. I don't even want to see the law. I just want to see the full writings. Those pages where he mentions these anomalous things.
Right. Now, about that. anytime someone from the olden days, I guess, when they were still using star charts to navigate across open water, if they're like, hey, I observed this shit move in the sky, I have more of a compliance to like believe them more. Not necessarily saying that it is of extraterrestrial
Right.
origin, but I definitely have more of a tendency of believing them that they have seen something move simply because they know that sky a fuck ton better
Yeah.
than the average motherfucker does today.
Especially back then. Yeah.
Exactly. They literally
Yeah.
use that chart to navigate open god fucking water.
Yeah.
Scary, deep black water.
And I do like that the entries, what he described, seemed honest. You know, it wasn't saying
He is a terrible man, but sure.
UFOs, but who knows? Maybe they weren't using a term like that back then
Right. It was
anyways.
just, hey,
Is not claiming
I
paranormal.
saw this is what I saw. It's not normal. Like could be so many things. It could be a methane ball of gas exploding over the water. Who knows? Sorry.
Well, you know, I did read an article on this, and I didn't take anything down from it because I really didn't want to get too much in it. But there are some, I forget what they're called, like fireworms or something like that, out in the ocean. And there are periods of time throughout the year where they're near the top and they do something for, I think, mating, and there's some like in the middle and the rest kind of like circle around and they start to glow when they do that. And they can stop the glow. They can do it when they want. Researchers have taken samples of these things, brought them back, and they figured out how the glowing was made. And they said basically the way the article was reading is effectively you take some type of distress in it, boom, you can make it glow. And yeah, kind of. And they're like, so essentially you could probably put this thing in a cancer cell and the cancer cell will light the thing off, you know?
Oh, fuck yeah.
So, but, you know, shooting into the sky, that doesn't seem, you know, that's not what we're hearing in the other stories of Christopher Columbus, of moving up and down. We could probably attribute to him being on the ocean, but shooting up into the sky, well, unless it's some type of flare, if they even had anything close to that, then they might have. Who knows? I would think you'd see it fall back down unless whatever it was burned out by the time it went up. Because he didn't say went up, floated around, and disappeared or came down.
It just
said
went
shot
into
up in
the
the sky. So, what could that be? I don't know. But those are the stories. Main one, Christopher Columbus, guys. So you know, the stuff's been happening for a long time. Doesn't mean it's aliens. It's just been happening for a long time. You know, all this stuff people claim to see and blah, 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 and all this. And not, I don't say claim as, yeah, they're full of shit. No, not at all. But I mean, I've seen something myself. How do we not know that maybe there is a little bit of a temperature change and we're right at the cusp of the, you know, the temperature, and we moved up like a degree or something every year, and now we're seeing some type of natural phenomenon that's rarely present unless the conditions are just right. So therefore maybe it pops up here and there. However, that of course doesn't count for oblong shaped objects, cigar shaped objects, disc shaped objects.
I mean, I agree, but I mean, there are some weird natural phenomenon that don't really happen very often, like the green flash. Like that's talked about from sailors. I mean, even in the Pirates of the Caribbean, like it's a legit thing. There really sometimes is a green flash, but like I mean, people could attribute that to, you know, oh, it's a omen or something like that. But you know, so there's a lot of things out there that used to happen probably more often than they do now, simply because it is of a natural reasoning. And yeah, our world is a little lot hotter.
Yep. But the good thing is it doesn't account for the other stuff, the metallic looking objects, which is good because those go back so fucking far.
Right.
Really far.
Yes.
So it's hard to attribute current human technology to that unless time travel's real at some point in our future, which I doubt. doesn't make sense. We'll do one on time travel at some point. I have a really good theory on if it's possible, how there's probably only one real way of that being possible. And then it technically wouldn't be time travel, but it would seem like it if you didn't know any better. We'll go into it in another show. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let's do that.
Do a little history of time travel.
That's not, no, because I immediately, when you say time travel, my brain goes through like 3 or 4 different pictures of like time travelers throughout history where people are just like oddly out of fucking place in pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this shit's so cool.
Yeah, you can't prove that shit's not fake though. You know?
Right.
So, well, all right. obscuredr1@gmail.com. If you have a story of your own, send us an email to that email. Type story in the subject line. Let us know your story. We'll tell it for you on here. If you want, you can come on the show. It's super simple for you to do. And you can tell your story yourself anonymously if you'd like. That's totally fine. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Tell us what you think about the Doomsday Fish showing up twice, and I believe it's 2 months now.
Yeah.
And let us know what you're thinking. With that said, I think we're going to be outsies for tonight. Until next time, peace out!
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check back with us often for new episodes. Feel free to drop a comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Obscured Reality.